In the U.S. Army, squad designated marksman training was intended to be nothing more than an adjunct to basic rifle marksmanship. It was put into a manual in the early 2000s and became very popular due to all the mobilizations that were happening to Iraq and Afghanistan at the time. The idea was that you were going to train soldiers in a squad how to engage targets at further distance than they were normally used to. Now, the Marines are going to chime in with the fact that they qualify at 500. The difference with SDM training is that you don't get partial credit for complete misses like you do on the Marine Corps qualification. As originally envisioned, SDM was teaching soldiers how to make better use of the issue equipment they already had. You were supposed to start with iron sights because at the time that was the primary, only sight issued, which is why for your first record fire table you would start with irons. If an optic was available, you were to complete the course firing record fire 2, making use of an optic. The training cadre that I was assigned to followed the manual as it was written because we actually read the manual. All of the students we had come through started with iron sights because that was their primary issued sight. Everyone was using iron sights exclusively at that point, and that's what we started them on because that's what the course directed. Because our cadre was so small, we also recruited some civilian instructors from the high power community, specifically the Department of Civilian Marksmanship, which is now the Civilian Marksmanship Program, mainly because we didn't have enough good military shooters, and we supplemented our cadre with good civilian shooters. We also had our students shoot with optics, one, because that's what the manual directed as an option for Table 2, and second reason was to give our students the greatest possible exposure. They already had a little experience shooting iron sights because that's what the Army issued at the time, and we hoped they might be able to be issued an optic if they were going to serve as an SDM in country, so we wanted to make sure that they were as comfortable with all of the options they might encounter if pressed into that role. Based on the data and scores we got from conducting this training, having personnel start with iron sights had no effect. At that point, everyone in the Army was starting with iron sights. We were conducting the SDM program starting with iron sights, just as the manual prescribed. The ending results when they switched to optics were a complete mixed bag. If the individual happened to be experienced with shooting optics prior, they did pretty well with them. If the individual happened to be a better shooter already, they were producing good scores with the irons when they showed up. That usually translated into better scores with the optics as well. It was very common to have personnel swap out to the ACOG and end up shooting a lower score with it, largely because they had limited to no experience with optics. They weren't the greatest shooter to begin with, and now they're using something that was foreign to them. Starting with iron sights didn't magically make them better, and until they gained enough experience shooting the optics, it was a foreign device to them. Starting with iron sights doesn't magically make you a better shooter. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.